Okay. So, Thanksgiving is in 2 days, and last year we talked about planes, trains, and automobiles, which is a very good thing for Thanksgiving to do. It's like the ultimate Thanksgiving thing. That's why you have to do it. It's like
it's the Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah. When in Rome, as they say. But this year we're doing something even more out of the box, but also like something that's very necessary, which is we are honoring and paying tribute and giving thanks to the man Adam Sandler, who we have talked about a lot on the podcast already, but like some people, some things that deserve a whole episode on them, even though if like they're just mentioned in passing, or even if like a movie is just brought up at some point randomly, like and also John has had this brilliant Adam Sandler list on his Letterboxd page for a while, and as we started to create a Cinebums Letterboxd, as the curator of the Cinebums Letterboxd, I made sure to put the best lists forward to transfer them over to the Cinebums Letterboxd so that they are on there for all to see, for anyone who follows the Cinebums Letterboxd. And so, I had to basically do the creative thing of being like, is this a good list or isn't this? Should this be on the Cinebums Letterboxd? And then I would do the very tedious thing of retyping in the list of
going through every single individual movie.
Yep, typing them in and be like, God damn it, I just did the whole list, but there's like these 3 that are not in the exact order or something like that. Like, because I posted like our American lists on Instagram one day, and I looked back on it and I was like, there is something just not right about John's list. It had the gist, but there were some that were just really flip-flopped.
Yeah, you have to go back and listen to the episode to get every single one in order.
Which I'm just not gonna do. I'm not gonna do. But yeah, we just want to have a more like involve our Letterboxd more, because we are hard Letterboxers, and Letterboxd is the internet way of documenting your cinephilia as much as possible, as well as having a movie podcast. So why not just marry the two together? And I thought, I don't know, I got really psyched about doing something about this Adam Sandler list, because I remember when I saw it, it was like one of those feelings where I was like, I wish I made that Adam Sandler list. I wish I had one, blah, blah, blah. I just thought it was, it's a good list. It's a necessary one.
I'm just really a pioneer. I was paving the way for Sandler lists from here on out.
Right.
That's
right. Now every kid is gonna want a Sandler list for Christmas this year.
Yeah, it really means a lot to me, that I could start this for the rest of the world. Bring happiness to others. That's what I'm all about. Yeah.
Right. Like the Social Network soundtrack was probably playing as you were making this list. Like, second song. Carly's like, he's wired in on the on the Sandman list.
If you were the inventors of the Sandman list, you would have invented the Sandman list.
Yeah, exactly. And you have your double monitors, one with Sandman movies going, and you just like looking at
my headphones in, just typing away. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Yeah. There is something really enjoyable about making a Letterboxd list, and being bored He's just like having like an NBA game on or something, and just
Mm-hmm.
going like on Letterboxd, like, oh, I should just make an Adam Sandler list for some reason. I was
Work
thinking
on
of
my list.
who have I seen a lot of like their movies that it would warrant like a list, and then I just Adam Sandler was the one. So that's
I once spent like a whole morning making my golden age of studio comedies list. It was like a morning in Hawaii, you know, from like 7 a.m. to like 10 or 11. I was just like went hard making it.
Yeah, that's hey, we're advocating big for Letterboxd, and this is a unpaid promotion essentially. But yeah, we're also using this to let you know you can follow us. Both of us are on there, and the Cinebums. So
and you can see the list that we're going to be talking about today on there, and
yes, either
you can tell
here
us
or
what
over
you
there
think.
or
You can tell
there.
us what you think of the list. You know, like, do you think that Hotel Transylvania should be higher than Reign Over Me? You know, someone could be like they could not be able to sleep at night because of that position in the list.
Yeah, that's a very polarizing topic, though, is Hotel Transylvania versus Reign Over Me.
Reign Over Me.
Yeah.
And if so be the case, then make your own Sandman list. I mean, if you like that, you know, if you have the time and the drive, make your own Sandman list, and then you can, you know, send it to us on social media, and we can compare them. We are not saying this is the definitive Sandler list, but this is John's POV of Adam Sandler, and also I agree with a lot of it for the most part, and I just I like the attention to detail and the fact that so many have been seen clearly, and I definitely have like a few quarrels with the list that will come up, but for the most part, I am, you know, I mean, there's like this is a very interchangeable thing, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I guess starting off, like I watched The Ridiculous Six, and I did not love The Ridiculous Six. I didn't even really like The Ridiculous Six, but I personally wouldn't have it at the bottom of the list.
So well, I guess we'll just get right into it. Yeah. So I'll have like one or two prefaces for this. One of them being, first of all, my dog has the zoomies right now, and she's being really distracting. But second is, I have not seen Pixels. I want to be completely upfront. I have not seen Pixels, Sandy Wexler,
I haven't either.
Or The Cobbler. Those are like the three like
I have seen
Sandler-led
The Cobbler.
films. The Cobbler.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. This has most of it, you know. Yeah, I think we should be clear on what this has.
That's pretty much everything else that he has been like the lead in.
Right. It doesn't have all the Netflix movies. I noticed that like last week because I was trying to like think about what I need to watch, and you don't have like The Do-Over, and Sandy
I've seen
Wexler.
The Do-Over.
Oh, no! Wait. Am I thinking of a different one?
Oh, but wait, I don't have The Do-Over.
You don't have The Do-Over on the list. All right, we will add it.
Okay, I'm gonna add it as we as we speak.
Well, then I also haven't seen The Do-Over. But I was like, while watching The Ridiculous Six, I was like, I should watch all of these Adam Sandler Netflix movies this week.
Yeah, that's what I thought I was going to do the same. But okay, I have now added The Do-Over to the list. I'm glad you brought that up because I would have skipped past it.
All right, refreshing now. All right, this is a big moment. I get to see where it is on the list.
I really want people to know because I really want people to know that I have seen The Do-Over. Okay, so I really don't want.
it's at the top of the shit pile almost.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
You could say
Yeah.
it, or yeah.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you
But
think
hey,
highly of it then.
I don't want some mean comments from people suggesting that I haven't seen The Do-Over, because I have. All right. I want to be very clear. I have
Yep.
seen Okay. Yeah. But yeah. So then my only, I'll give away like my criteria, I guess, going over this list, which is part of it is when I saw it. If I was a little bit older, and maybe there's some on here that I've seen once, and they were when I was younger. So it's kind of like gauging off of that I probably could rewatch again, but
I feel like Mr. Deeds may be one of those.
Maybe we'll get to.
Or
we'll
you're
get
like,
to
no. Or you're
Longfellow
like, no. I
Deeds.
still, I still bleed Deeds.
We will get to Longfellow Deeds. Believe you me. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. There's some like, we'll start off with the Ridiculous Six, since you brought it up, and since it's number 33 out of 33 on the list. And Ridiculous Six I saw last year and really just hated the experience of watching it. And and I was just really not having it whatsoever. I was like, what is this? Why do these six people get paid this much money to do this, this piece of work? Like, is this worth all this money to give them? And so I was like in a bad mindset. And so I gave Ridiculous Six a half star and put it at the bottom of my list. And maybe part of it too was that I wouldn't mind seeing like a comedic version of the Magnificent Seven. Yeah, this was not it. Maybe that has some potential, possibly. I like the Three Amigos, the Steve Martin Short, Chevy Chase Western movie.
Right.
Maybe you could do something like that. So yeah, is the Ridiculous Six the worst movie on here? That's definitely very subjective, but yeah, I put it at the bottom of my list.
Out of your the watches, you had probably the most negative time.
Yes, and I think regardless, if I were to watch all of the Netflix Sandler movies like all in a row, it would for sure be one of those that would be at the bottom of my list. So in this case, the Ridiculous Six takes it. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Netflix movies descend down into like a lower quality, like a real lower quality of movie that people almost haven't seen before. And the Ridiculous Six definitely has those elements to it, as does The Week Of, which I've also seen and is a little higher on this list. But you're also like, you can't believe that this is what they made and wrote and stuff. For me, like the certain movies like Chuck and Larry and the Zohan and Spanglish, like those like 2000s movies that were really bad, and also like they're like more offensive to me than the Netflix movies, because the Netflix movies are just like lazy, and when the like 2000s bad ones are like real kind of like range from douchey to really offensive, so right, so like you're like picking your poison in a way with those. Like we are going through the ones that where Sandler is like, everyone's like, I'm giving Sandler all this shit to like, gotta sit through that movie. Ugh, he only makes movies with his friends. Like, ugh, like, why can't he make Uncut Gems like every time? If he could do that, why isn't he always doing that? Like that's where those comments come from, is because we are going through the rough I'm making, like Sandler's like, I'm making movies with the movies I want to make with the people I want to make, which is like,
I'm Schneider.
You can't blame a guy for that. Like, you really can't.
Well, yeah, what I will say in his defense is there's very few people, if any, that I can think of that have made the amount of like really shitty movies that he's made and the really like shitty characters and roles that he's played and still be super well liked and
Yeah.
relevant, and he still
Yeah.
makes money, like even if the movie gets trashed, he still makes Netflix millions of dollars. He at the box office will make millions of dollars. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
everyone watches everything he does, even as much as like he gets trashed.
yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think whatever mood I was in when I watched Ridiculous Six, it was like there was maybe I felt no redeeming qualities in this, and then this was just these idiots doing this, doing fart jokes and there's no like redeeming qualities, because there's some that are towards the bottom of the list too that I have a little higher, and it's because maybe there was like a sweet moment between like family
Right.
members that I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's nice at least. But yeah,
This is also the first of two movies where Rob Schneider plays a Native American. I forget what the other one was. I'm pretty sure I just watched it. I think it's in Bedtime Stories, possibly, where Rob
that's one
Schneider
I
also
really do not remember.
plays a Native American. Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
good.
yeah. It's one of those things where, as you see through the Sandler filmography, Schneider comes up and plays all these like minorities, and you're like, I get like, I always shake my head when I see it, but I also am like, I don't like totally hate it when he does it. I almost like see why they do it. Like I almost like I can see like why Adam Sandler thinks it, like from his point of view, like why he thinks it's funny when Rob does these characters, like
Yeah,
when Rob plays a Hawaiian and he's like, I trained the dolphins, and it's like so ridiculous that like I could see why they're like, why not? Like, let's put that in the movie. Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything else to add.
No, I watched it last week, and I like totally hate it. I was kind of in a very laid back mood and I just didn't give a fuck. So that like it kind of helped me like more not
Yeah,
give a fuck. It's just something I threw on. But yeah, I mean I can't argue that like it's a good movie. I can't argue that's a good movie at all. So I mean
I'd say a lot of
yeah.
like the bottom like 5 or 6 are kind of interchangeable too. None of them are like really much better at all than the other. But yeah, this is just the way I decided to rank them. But the next one on the list, something we both watched today, and that's Jack and Jill, starring Adam Sandler and Adam Sandler.
Yeah, and
And
this is one
wow,
I definitely was gonna like. I was like somewhat dreading a little because I was like, I know this is gonna be just so horrible. It's like really just known for being bad. Like the main thing I know about Jack and Jill, my main frame of reference is that line in Ted, where like Seth MacFarlane as the teddy bear is like he has like hookers over when Mark Wahlberg and Mila Kunis go on their date, and they come back, and he's just sitting there with the hookers, and he's like, the girls and I were just watching Jack and Jill. He's like, that's what he was doing with the hookers, and he's like, it's just awful.
in a way, I felt like it's one that I should watch. One, for this list, and two, just because I feel like it.
Yeah, it's like a necessary.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I've seen like videos making fun of Jack and Jill and stuff before, so I've seen certain clips and everything, and I knew that Al Pacino was in it, and I do have to say, I think Al Pacino, like, he gave a good effort
He
in
made the
this.
movie. He made the movie for me.
Yeah, he was trying, and I actually I laud him for that. Yeah,
like that scene where he's on stage and he's talking to Sandler on the phone, who's pretending to be Jill or not because he is Jill. He like yells at him on the phone, and he says something from The Godfather, and he's like, and the audience is like, oh, we're getting The Godfather now. Oh, and they start like tearing up, and then he yells at him. He's like, rah, 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 and everyone starts clapping because he's like, get Jill over here, and everyone's like clapping because it's like they're like watching Pacino perform. It's it's I thought it was awesome every time Pacino was there as yeah, it was.
He says like Attica, something else.
Does he?
And then like he says like all in a row. He says like Attica, some other reference to a movie he's been in, and then like he says his line. He's like, "Get me Jill now," or something like that. I can't remember, but I'm. It's shocking that Al Pacino is in a movie like this. But
I know.
I feel like he has no shame.
I thought it was just that like one cameo, like one or two cameos, but it ended up being the entire film. And he's
Adam Sandler's love interest.
You're right. The whole point of the movie is to get him in this commercial for Dunkin' Donuts.
You know, there are a couple times where I maybe didn't laugh but thought were somewhat funny, and they both had to do with Al Pacino. And it's when Jill like breaks his Academy Award, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sure you have more of those." And he's like, "No, actually, you know, that's the only one. You would think, but that's the only one." I actually was like, "Oh, okay, you know, that's kind of a fun joke, making fun of himself." And then towards, you know, at the end too, when you finally see the Dunkin' Donuts ad, and he's just like, "Burn it, never let anyone see it." And I always think like,
I laughed so hard during the Dunkin' Donuts ad.
I was almost thinking, well, yeah, the ad itself made me laugh, and then I was almost thinking his reaction. Is that his reaction? Was he in character then, or was he being Al Pacino telling Adam Sandler not to show anyone this movie?
Right. Yeah. It is like that. Also, what's funny is I was looking at like reviews of this movie, and Dunkin' Donuts actually has like a Letterboxd, and they and they have like, so I found them through looking at this movie and reviews, and I saw like Dunkin' Donuts was like liking critics reviews, and I'm like, and now I follow Dunkin' Donuts on Letterboxd.
Wow. Good to know.
Because they like reviewed this movie.
Oh,
I don't know if you know what Dunkin' Donuts is, John, living in California and all, but it's more of an East Coast thing.
Yeah, no, I've never heard of it. I don't know. I thought it was just the Dunkin' Donuts was the company they made up for Jack and Jill. So surprised. Yeah.
Well, it's original. They should have those.
Yeah, they should make more of those. Yeah.
Jack and Jill, I laughed a lot. I like just because of the absurdity of Adam Sandler's performance, and that they're actually doing it, and that it's not just a comedy sketch. It's just this whole movie.
I actually would. I did have the thought, because I caught myself just like staring, but kind of smiling while I was just like staring at whatever was happening. And I would be interested in seeing like the reactions of a theater watching Jack and Jill for the first time, like in 2011 when it came out. Like I would love to see just people's reactions to seeing Adam Sandler play this role.
Yeah. There's that scene where like he changes into Jill to go meet Al Pacino, and he's like in the bathroom, and then he comes out of the bathroom, and the I don't know, whatever, the bathroom attendant sees him, and then he just like goes up to him and like fixes the tissue boxes, which are supposed to be his boobs. So he just like goes up to him and like grabs his chest and just like moves it the other way because it's not straight. It's just like weird shit like that, like the whole way through.
The humor is aimed at haha, like this woman is fat, and like haha, this like she's fucking ugly and fat, and haha, like
right.
it's like, oh my god, like
And like at one party, like their birthday party, which is at like Morton's Steakhouse, which I think is like really well known as a Chicago steakhouse.
Oh, wow.
Actually, so I was surprised because it's an LA based movie that they went to a Morton's. But anyways, they like meet a bunch of guys meet Jill and in like one of the private rooms there, and like one guy says something, and this is said multiple times in the movie, like she's kind of hot or something like that, and then the other guy goes like, dude, are you crazy? And then another guy goes like, no, I don't think he is, and then he's like, he's crazy.
Yeah, like that's all like what the humor is centered around.
Yeah, it's all like, how can someone possibly be attracted to this like horrible looking Adam Sandler, like, cross-dressing thing going on? I mean, we get it, it's like looks weird. Yeah,
this movie sucks. It just sucks.
I mean, it's Jack and Jill.
Yeah,
but
Jack and Jill,
you should check it out for Al Pacino. I say, yep, it's worth it to see what Pacino brings to the table here. As someone who I just find Pacino funny as an actor, like no matter what, like even if he's just in one of his normal movies, like I think he's funny. Not The Godfather, he's not really funny in those, but like all those real like typical Pacino movies where he's got the especially 90s like low voice, raspy voice, like they play on that so much in this that I like as a fan, I just like got such a kick of watching like Pacino like yelling on stage like, turn off your phones.
Yeah, I love how like into character he was. He was so like thespian.
Yeah. Like they're making fun of like his persona so much for like people who are fans clearly, and he kind of gives everyone that, he's such a good sport about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, here we'll move on. The next one is That's My Boy, which
you saw for the first time this week, right?
Yeah, I saw it for the first time.
Another
recently.
2000s Sandler movie, or 2010s?
2010s, yeah, 2012.
Early 2010s, yeah.
I think had I seen it maybe in 2012 when it came out, when I was 9 years younger, I maybe would have liked it more. And I just got super annoyed with this one. I wasn't laughing at all. I thought the humor was just like over the top obnoxious, like a lot of these can be. And I thought I was just like, none of it was funny to me. There's none of the incest, the horny grandma. There's always a horny grandma in these Sandler movies, and I never find it funny. And yeah, I was just not feeling it for any of this.
Yeah, I've only seen this once, and it was actually when I like was a freshman in college, and I would go to this dude's apartment to get my hair cut in Lincoln Park. And this one time we would watch movies while he gave me my haircut, and he would take and we'd also smoke weed. And so it would take like all day. It would take like, I swear I would be there sometimes for 4 hours, and I'd be like, why did that take so long? And it felt like it didn't feel like we were wasting time either. It felt like he was cutting my hair. But it just took so long, and we always would I'd watch like a full movie while I was getting my haircut. And one time it was That's My Boy. And I think in the context of that, like doing that already, I remember laughing at That's My Boy. But I probably would think this movie's shitty too if I watched it again. I just remember because I was there getting my haircut and it was on, and I would just see Adam saying all this like offensive shit happening on screen. I'd be like, oh my god, like shock value humor, that sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, I do know Sandler plays like a very shitty guy in this.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like kind of frustrating how Andy said, it's like that whole thing's like, you were a bad dad. And he's like, oh, come on, grow some balls. I'm going to
yeah,
have a beer and let me play baseball. And then Andy Samberg's like, I have all these problems because of you now. And like, it's just that the whole movie. And then more
yeah.
shitty jokes and more offensive things.
Um,
I will also say that all bad Adam Sandler movies, I also still kind of somewhat enjoy, and I get the charm of like, and we're about to go through more, so this theme will come up, but like,
mhm.
that like comfort of like how in Funny People, George Simmons is doing that Sandler thing of like, I am in too many stupid comedies, like I have
Yeah,
done
yeah,
so much for money, that sort of thing. Like those types of comedies are just like, nevertheless, still like, medicine for so many people. And there's like a reason why they get made. And so I still like, as like much as I shake my head at all these stupid Sandler movies and sometimes think like, God, they could have like easily been better at this, right now. I don't know. I like I don't know. They feel like good for me in a way like that. Like today I was yeah. Yeah, there's just something about like if it's a lazy comedy that's clearly not trying too hard, it makes you feel better about not trying too hard. Like it puts you in that state of actually being able to, I don't know, relax at home. Weirdly,
yeah, yeah. And I think my biggest issues with him is just when he like reinforces those like social stereotypes that as like, our
yeah,
woke culture now we've kind of
which
gotten
are like
over.
those, yeah, which is like Jack and Jill,
Hmm.
and That's My Boy, and actually, like, this is a perfect bridge to the next three, which is I feel like the next three we can talk about as a group,
Let's do
because
it.
they're
Yeah.
all late 2000s comedies that are brutally offensive. Um, yeah, and I feel like they were at their like point where like this is the last possible time they could have been made. Um,
Yeah.
too. So like I feel
Hmm.
like also even for the like any time these are like, it's not even because of where it's 2021, it's because just any time period. I feel like these are objectively offensive movies.
Yeah. And going from just the homophobia in many of these movies,
Yeah.
but specifically Chuck and
Yeah.
Larry, and then also
It's just like
degrading to women
reinforcing
too.
like straight male humor to think being gay is weird. So
Yeah.
it's just like you can really break it down as like that is what's problematic about this. And I there's a chance I maybe also because I'm trying to like still stick up for the Sandman, but I swear I heard in an interview like when he was like talking about his movies and like saying, I don't know, not saying sorry, but saying, oh yeah, like we shouldn't have done these things in Chuck and Larry, like responding to criticism. He might have mentioned this.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I think I remember that too. Definitely good to address that. So I'm glad that Sandler did. But yeah.
It's also in the category of movies, and I'll name others that are in this, where Adam Sandler thinks he's cool. Or not thinks. Sandler's cool. Sandler's cool as fuck. Like, did you see him like his birthday party where like The Weeknd was singing and he had all these people there? That party, yeah, Sandler's totally cool.
Yeah.
But like where he's like presented, like his character is just that he's the likable, cool guy that everyone likes in this movie. Um,
Which in
and
real
all
life
his
he
joke,
is sort of the likable cool guy, but then
right?
he
He
adds
has
all the
this movie
douchiness
persona,
into it. Yeah.
yeah. Like in Grown Ups, for instance, he is like the cool dude of the group when like David Spade is like the womanizer of the group, and Kevin James is the fat guy, and Rob Schneider is the weird guy. And then like Longest Yard, I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be the cool guy in that.
Yeah.
Like that's what I remember from it.
Mm-hmm.
I think just go with it. He's like a very prestigious plastic surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
And he's dating like both Jennifer Aniston and Brooklyn Decker in that
Supermodels.
movie. Yeah. He's like, oh man, I have a shot at this amazing supermodel who's like 20 years younger than me, but I guess I'll settle for the one I get along with more personally and emotionally in who happens to be Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, it's too bad he had to settle for Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, who doesn't look good in the great in the movie. She just looks like normal until like the movie suddenly goes like, hey, look, it's Jennifer Aniston. She's also stunning. You knew that too.
Yeah, she's only been everyone's crush since the 90s. So yeah.
So like Sandler, like, so yeah, I mean,
he's always the cool guy that gets the girl in the end. That's always been part of the formula.
50 First Dates, he's like he's the cool guy who gets the girl. He's like the man on the island, I feel like, too. And everyone watches him doing all these sweet things for Drew in that movie, and I remember like girls going like, oh, he's so sweet, like feel like people are watching like, oh, she's so lucky to be with him, you know. It's just like crazy that, like, I don't know, he pulls, like, whether he pulls it off or not, I feel like sometimes he does and sometimes he doesn't, but he goes for that, but he also goes for being like doing the weirdest shit ever in others. Like there's some times where he's trying to be like such a normal funny man, and then others where he's doing like not like, trying to be weird, like as a Dumb and Dumber sort of thing, like playing Jill and playing that character in Little Nicky, and also there's what he does in Don't Mess with the Zohan. Which, if I were to make my own Sandler list, that would maybe be at the bottom of mine, because that was like when you were describing, like, I just didn't like anything about it, and I remember just like hating it. Like he's always giving women, he like gives women haircuts, but he also like massages them and gives them sexual pleasure. It's like a weird, like, Edward Scissorhands, that kind of ends up being the case in that movie, but it's more because he's like a magical, like, artist, that sort of thing. Like, and Don't Mess with, like, so they feel like, I don't know, a sensation when they're getting their haircut. It's like, it's not as weird. Like, Don't Mess with the Zohan, he's like blatantly like, like, I don't know, he'll like be like dry humping an old woman like on her chair while he's giving him a haircut, and then like crowds are like watching. And, I just can't believe it. And I actually think I heard like an interview with the Safdie brothers at one point where they mentioned that, like, because they have a lot of Sandler love, because for getting him, for having him envisioned for Uncut Gems. And so, like, I think there's a lot of conversations with them talking about the classic Sandlers, and Don't Mess with the Zohan for them is actually like a huge like classic for them, where they're like, oh, that was the one, and I'm like, man, I want to agree with the Safdie brothers here so bad, but like I just can't get behind Don't Mess with the Zohan at all.
Yeah, I guess I don't have too much else to say about that or Chuck and Larry.
I do really want to hear, though, about your watch of Spanglish, as I have talked about Spanglish a lot on this podcast. So,
didn't care for any of this, even from the little details of the girl narrating. I thought was so like over the top expository. Just every single detail in the like towards the beginning. She's like talking about like specific things her mom needs to do, and it's just like what is important about this to the story, and that's even before you get into like the meat and potatoes of this thing. Um, where it's also, and I guess where I would put this above those other ones we talked about is that there are some moments with Adam Sandler and like his daughter where it's like, okay, this is maybe a nice father-daughter moment, or he's looking out for her. But yeah, this one I really shortly in I decided I was going to um watch while also packing up some boxes um, for our upcoming move at the same time. So, yeah, I was sort of haphazardly watching Spanglish, and yeah, don't care to see it again. It's too long, too boring.
Yeah, I actually don't find it boring, but I
Mm.
definitely like it doesn't like necessarily deserve anyone's attention. I don't, yeah, like I actually was like every scene I was like, now what is it gonna do? Because
Really?
it may be the most of I don't know, like it's such a shitstorm of a movie, and it's like Sandler I also think is not like good in it, but like he's like I think he's really miscast, but I think everything with Taya Leone is like one like more of a shitstorm than like anything. Well, it's maybe like it's to a degree similar levels of like Don't Mess with the Zohan, like a shit show for me, where I'm like, I can't believe they did this on screen. Like everything like Taya Leone says in this movie is like so awful, and like I can't believe like what a ridiculous person she's playing.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I can't believe she even like she ever recovered from doing this movie.
That I was shocked by how like awful she was as a person,
Right.
like as a
Like
mom.
in the opening scene, she's just trying to talk to their new maid, and she's just immediately like, "Oh my god,
Hmm.
she's horrible."
Yeah. And I think maybe, that part of it sort of took me out of it too. I never really got into it at all, which is also why I decided I needed to do something while this was on, because I couldn't just sit there and watch, um you know on give I couldn't give it my undivided attention. um and yeah,
Yeah,
I
fair
mean,
enough.
that's pretty much it. I do agree. I think Tia Leone's character was just bonkers, and
Yeah,
that, and when those certain scenes with her freaking out at either her daughter or Adam Sandler, like those were like
yeah. Her and
crazy to
Sandler
me.
are just like the weirdest couple in this. They have absolutely no chemistry. I just can't believe they're even together.
um yeah, that's
All
Spanglish.
right,
That's
yeah.
all I gotta
Let's
say.
let's move on from
Move
that.
on. Next one too, on the list is The Week Of. I also don't have much to say about this. I actually
Yeah, I don't
thought this was
either. I just remember it being ridiculous.
I also actually think that this was more boring than Spanglish. It's just a whole
This
lot
is
of
one I
nothing.
had a lot of trouble getting into. It's just a lot of like, oh man, we're all in the same house. And like
Yeah,
now there's a black family in my house, and very just low quality.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing to take away. I actually might want to bump this one down further. It wasn't as like offensive as some of his other
Nah, nah.
movies, but there's also nothing there.
Right.
Yeah.
There is a
Well,
funny interview on the Tonight Show when Chris Rock and Adam Sandler are promoting this movie. And I don't know, and like I don't know, Chris Rock just keeps saying it's on Netflix, and then like Jimmy asks him, he's like, "Where's the movie gonna be, Adam? Adam, where can we watch it?" And Adam's just like, "Oh, it's on Netflix,"
well, I'll have to check that out.
That's funny. The movie is not as funny.
Funnier than anything in the movie. Yeah. Um. Yeah.
So
Okay. Well,
I was surprised that being a guy that has Grown Ups 1 kind of high on your list, that Grown Ups 2 did not appeal to you in the same fashion.
it did not. And this is where a lot of the sentimentality comes into it too. And like when I've seen it, I wanted to like it a bit more, because I know we talked about it. We talked about Grown Ups 1 and 2 last year
Yeah,
sometime during like
yeah,
high peak COVID times,
right.
and I was
I
like,
remember
yeah,
going extensively into Grown Ups.
I was like, yeah, Grown Ups isn't so bad. One of my
Yeah.
friends who was my freshman year roommate in college, when we were freshmen in college, he said his favorite movie was Grown Ups, and I was like, what the hell? Like, what? Who are you? Like, this is a crazy thing to say. And then over time, I was like, hey, you know what? That's all
It's
right with
fun.
me.
Yeah,
That's all right
I
with me.
like it. They
But
go to
yeah,
a water park in it. They play
yeah,
basketball.
Steve Buscemi, he's there.
Steve
I don't mind seeing
Buscemi,
him show up.
was the field
Um,
goal good? Jokes like that, humor like
yeah.
that.
Grown Ups too. I just felt like there was just more and more of the shitty humor, the shitty like douchebag humor. And yeah,
I just forgot something, that this is the second Taylor Lautner performance, because I forgot
yeah,
to bring up Taylor Lautner in The Ridiculous Six, and
yeah,
he is the most ridiculous thing in The Ridiculous Six,
yeah.
for sure.
He's
Like, I
just
couldn't
so
believe
bad.
Taylor Lautner, like what they had him do in that. And I think it's another idea by Adam Sandler, like, yeah, do that. That'd be funny. Like, you can be funny, Taylor.
Yeah, right.
Everyone can be
Yeah.
funny if they try.
He went from like being like the biggest heartthrob in the world to then not aging at all from like a 17-year-old boy. So then Adam Sandler tries to give him a go at comedy.
The comedy
See how that
chops,
goes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can be the weirdest guy out of this whole cast if you
Yeah.
want. Taylor Lautner out of
Out of
everybody.
this movie called The Ridiculous Six, you somehow are the most ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's that one scene where he's like, they're hanging him and he's just flying around. He's going like,
Oh God.
oh, that is like a perfect like I don't know, just capsule of like, oh, this is what the Ridiculous Six is. This is like the level of low grade comedy.
Yeah, I just think there's so much of just the typical like I don't know, punching down on like the out of the ordinary people in a way. In a way I felt like it was sort of like typical 2010s and late 2000s Sandler. Yeah, and I just didn't care for it. And it's also just full of product placement constantly too. Um,
Dunkin' Donuts 5-starred this movie.
there must be something with Dunkin' Donuts in this that
Yeah,
they yeah. I
the
wish when I
lack of
saw it.
Dunkin' Donuts doesn't matter when we're having as great of a time as we had rewatching these films today.
Wow. So I guess it didn't have anything to do with Dunkin', but
Yeah, what? But like, it clearly there's some Adam Sandler connection to Dunkin' Donuts.
mhm. Yeah. And I don't know. When I was watching it, there was like few specifics that came to mind that I wanted to bring up, and I can't even remember them at this point, and it's probably not important. Um, but yeah, there's like the fight scene in the end, and it's all just
Mm-hmm.
either everything is just like predictable. It's about
I feel like
it's like a
Shaq like throws some kid like into the pool or some shit like that.
yeah, Shaq's in it quite a bit. Shaq and
Yeah,
is like a cop, and
Shaq's
his
the
other
cop for the local officer.
and he just happens to be everywhere constantly. He's
Yeah,
always wherever they are.
yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
yeah, Grown
definitely
Ups
one of
2 I
those
didn't
you could
care
make
much
the
for.
argument that it's like the least one of the least amount of efforts put into a Sandler movie, because
Yeah.
if you look at like what happens, it's like it'll be a day in the life of our new lives, moving to the suburbs, moving back here to the town, and we drop the kids off at school, and then we go to the. Did they go to like a Walmart at one point or something like that, and like
Kmart, yeah.
just like yeah, like a Kmart, and they just like hang out and like work out, and then they like it shows them run like 2 errands, like they're just at a point where they don't have to do anything, it seems like, and then they're like, oh, and then there's the party tonight, don't forget about the party. And
in these movies there's always like a picnic or some sort of party that everybody gets together for. Like there's always some like event like that, like even in Grown Ups 1 there's something. And what I was thinking too is these guys have been friends since they were children, and still the only conversations that they ever have is like, oh, remember in high school when this happened? Like they've known each other for like over 40 years, but the only conversations they have is about stuff that happened in high school.
That's very true. That's like, pretty funny.
They're such like losers for that, but they're
right. That's kind of the world you're living in when you tune in with the grown-ups guys, because like they just like that's all it is. Hey, remember when we used to go over here and get laid, like or something like that. Oh yeah, you got laid. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you were getting laid. Remember when we walked in on Steve's mom getting changed when we were like 13? Right. Yeah, like it's all like,
oh yeah, that was disgusting.
So gross.
Now we're old so fat and ugly. Kids and beer bellies. Ha ha. Like that's all it is. Yeah.
It's like they really have nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, there really is a lack of variety.
Yeah, and someone once said like the lowest form of conversation is it always starts with "remember when" or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, I mean that's Grown Ups too. So we already talked about this next one a little bit, and by a little bit I mean we just mentioned it. But The Do-Over is next. And this is a bad movie. This is one of these Netflix movies. But when I think about it, there are maybe some parts of it that I didn't think were completely terrible, as in like there may be a couple moments that made me laugh. But in this one, Adam Sandler is yet again another like cool guy, and he's trying to help his friend, his old buddy David Spade, who they haven't kept in touch much since high school. Again, high school always comes back into it. But he tries to help David Spade, who his wife is like cheating on him, and he's just like this kind of lame square guy. And Adam Sandler tries to shake up his life by bring him. I feel like he's done some like government work where he's like a FBI agent or something along those lines. Or he's like a criminal. I can't even remember which is the one. He's either like a really well-connected FBI guy, or he's like a criminal who is trying to like get David Spade to just pretend like he's dead and then completely change his life around and get him laid and get him all of these like, take him on all these cool adventures on boats and stuff. That's pretty much it. There's some really, really just fucking weird sex scenes in it too. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say you probably don't have to watch this one, but yeah,
I'm still gonna check it out. I think.
Yeah, you could,
just because it's like I'm trying to chronologically do the Netflix ones, and it's like right after the Ridiculous Six. So,
I liked The Do-Over better than the Ridiculous Six. So maybe you'll have a similar experience. I don't know.
All right.
Okay. I feel like now we're moving into the territory that's getting
the movies
better.
Start to become pretty good.
They're more so not like I don't like really the next one's coming up. I don't hate at all. I don't hate any of these movies coming up after this. So
yeah, that's good. Yeah, we talked about a good amount of bad. I haven't seen this next one. I was gonna say I haven't seen Blended.
Yeah, this next one is Blended, which back in like 2014 or 15, my sister and I watched this one night when I was visiting her, and I have no idea why. We just decided to watch Blended. And you know what? It wasn't a bad experience. I'm actually thinking that I've rated Blended too poorly now that I see some of the things ahead of it. And I may adjust this list in retrospect, but for the sake of this podcast here, I'm going to
Right.
keep it because I had plenty of time to go over. But yeah, Blended is basically after a blind date, a man and a woman find themselves stuck together at a resort for families where their attractions grow as their respective kids benefit from their burgeoning relationship. So yeah, so Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore both like have kids separately, and they meet up before this trip, and then on this blind date, and yeah, they end up both going to Africa, to this resort,
And
where
that's a big part of it, I'm sure, is that they're in Africa.
They're in Africa. This was definitely like an excuse for the Sandlers and Barrymore families to take a vacation to Africa, take a safari vacation.
Right. And I forgot to mention Jack and Jill, eventually they do take a cruise.
Yeah, they take a cruise.
And I was like, oh, on cue, they take a cruise with, and then Al Pacino picks up Jack, who's pretending to be Jill, in a helicopter off the cruise ship.
Yeah. Oh my
He's
God.
Like, come on, baby.
Yeah. So I mean, this ties into that the vacation, you know. Yeah. And I think what you can realize that in the beginning, fairly early on, that this is so their families in real life can go on vacation. And to me, yeah, I was like, you know what, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that almost makes me like it better. It's like, okay, cool. They took their kids. I'm sure that was a really cool vacation for their kids. And the actor kids that were there too.
Right. And their parents,
yeah, it's actually,
and who knows, maybe their relatives, like
yeah. Whoever else went on
whoever
that
was
trip.
a part of it.
I know I remember reading in Norm Macdonald's book, he talks, like, it's not a memoir, but there's a lot of truth in it, and he talks a lot about how much he loves Adam Sandler because of like all the nice things he's done for him throughout his career. So I feel like that is, that's maybe part of why I don't mind this one so much, because hey, he probably did a lot to get all these people a vacation, safari vacation to Africa. So yeah, good on you, Sandman. But yeah, this is a nice enough movie. It's definitely more family oriented than others, so there's not as much of like this stupid, homophobic or transphobic humor or whatever.
I wanted to get to it because I wanted to complete the Barrymore, trifecta.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to. I instead decided to watch Jack and Jill and Bedtime Stories and Reign Over Me.
Yeah, that's Blended.
Cool.
I'll probably
I still want to
this
see
on my
it, man.
list,
It looks like a good old time to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna adjust this one on my list, but for the sake of this episode, it's at 24 for now.
I want to know why Drew's pointing at him in the cover and he's smiling back. I assume he's up to something.
I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it.
You just know it. He's probably got some joke up his sleeve.
But yeah, so the next one.
Let's talk about Bedtime Stories because I watched that as my bedtime story last night.
Very nice. It's probably the best way to watch it. Yeah. Another
this
family-oriented
is a weird one. Yeah, it's a family-oriented one, and it's on Disney Plus. So if you want to watch it, check it out. And it's the only maybe the only Sandler Disney flick.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, in this one, Sandler ends up watching his sister's kids. His sister is played by Courtney Cox, and he ends up bonding with her kids. And the other babysitter, who plays the other babysitter again? Carrie Russell.
I don't remember.
Carrie Russell.
Carrie Russell.
And he's the origin story of Bedtime Stories is Adam Sandler's dad started this very successful chain of hotels in Los Angeles off like Sunset Boulevard, and he was supposed to inherit all of it, and he ended up inheriting none of it. In fact, he is the very disrespected maintenance man of the hotel, which is just like the worst thing. And the only reason why they did that, not only does the character need to overcome some, but it's kind of funny. It's just a funny thing, I think, to Adam Sandler, for him to be a loser,
Mhm.
But also, like, at the same time, he, like, once the movie starts, it's like, oh, no one in the hotel respects him, but everyone else, like, as he starts to do more things, loves him, and he immediately gets this easy opportunity to, like, run the next hotel for, like, no reason. Um, and everyone who works for the hotel is like a douchebag, and Carrie, like, at first he's like, I don't know what to do with kids. I'm so bad with kids. And then eventually Carrie Russell's like, you're so great with those kids. They look up to you. And now I think even I like you. And that's just how the movie goes. Yeah, it's like a weird one, but I enjoyed it,
All right, well, we can move on to the next one, which is another Netflix one. It's Murder Mystery.
The top of the Netflix ones, right?
This
No,
might...
it's not. It's not. Because we got Hubie coming up.
True. Good call.
Of course.
Yes. Yeah, Murder Mystery. Murder Mystery is another one I don't really have like animosity towards. I think that it had much more potential, though, and at least me, I am definitely into sort of the murder mystery type of, Agatha Christie style movie, which I was hoping this was going to be. Like, oh, okay, this would be a really easygoing Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston rom-com where there's a murder mystery aspect to it.
Have you checked out Only Murders in the Building?
Not yet. Oh, but I want to so bad. Yeah.
Seems like it'd be up your alley.
I bet.
I've only
Yeah.
watched like one episode, but I heard it gets like, I kind of tuned out of it because it's a lot of like, they like, it's weird. They're like nerdy about that whole like Clue aspect stuff, and true crime, and I'm just not
Mm-hmm.
like as nerdy about that. So like they even like start a podcast in the movie, and it's just like, what is this? Like, so I
Wow.
kind of fell out of it, but I feel like I could give it another go.
Yeah, I've only heard great things about that.
It's kind of a cool thing that just exists, even if I end up not like being that into it, I feel like I should
Yeah.
just check it out for that.
So yeah, I don't know. This one was like,
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. They were in Europe, and there were some cool shots of Europe, and Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston are likable as a couple. I do think, like him and Drew Barrymore, I do think they have like chemistry on screen,
Yeah,
and
they do.
so yeah, I
Despite
don't
what I
have really...
said and just go with it, like you can feel the chemistry in that movie, and like when eventually Sandler like proposes to her, like at the end of
Mhm.
Just Go With It, I remember feeling like, oh, they should be together, this
Yeah,
has to happen. Like,
yeah.
even though Brooklyn Decker's hotter, he should be with this hotter
Less, yeah. This
this
old
woman
bag,
who's
Jennifer
hot and
Aniston.
also closer to his age. That makes more sense.
Yeah. It does make more sense. Yeah, the story adds up there. Yeah. Um. So yeah, I don't know, with Murder Mystery, I don't even remember too much of what happens, but I remember I was like slightly
Me
disappointed.
neither. There's a lot of
But
action scenes, and they're always on a
yeah,
yacht. Are they in
yeah,
Italy?
I think so. Yeah. So it like looks beautiful, obviously where they are, and there's nothing really like super terrible about it. It just wasn't really that good of a movie. Um, yeah, and this was probably an excuse to take a European vacation with Jennifer Aniston's family and the Sandler family. Yeah,
Right. So once again, props for that.
yeah,
I'm sure they ate very well.
yeah. See, I would love to. I would be in any Adam Sandler movie. It's going to be somewhere on vacation. So, you know, I don't
Right.
blame
That's why
people
everyone says
for,
yes. Like if you're the
yeah,
producer of it, you probably are like planning the vacation in a way. Like it's
yeah.
probably part of it.
You have a travel agent take care of everything for you. Yeah, it's hard to pass that up. Okay, that's murder mystery, and the next one is Little Nicky, which I have
Right.
rewatched recently. Um, and I know we talked about this within the past year or so too.
Yeah, because I like I remember watching it and it had been like the best movie I had seen. And there was something in like a certain point of time when I watched it. Like I remember, yeah. I like
Yeah.
Little Nicky. I think it's one of my favorite Sandler like character, like when he actually like does an impression or character, like kind of a thing that you would try out for SNL for, like this goth like son of Satan, where he's like, oh yeah, Popeyes, give me the flask. Like I think that shit's hilarious. And Harvey Keitel plays like Satan in this, like his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little Nicky, there's funny parts to it, and I think Sandler's funny, and I like the concept, and yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it also just had a lot of people that I liked in it, like Reese
Oh,
Witherspoon and
oh yeah, yeah.
Dana Carvey and Kevin Nealon and Quentin Tarantino's in this. I forget.
Tarantino.
He has one crazy scene. I
He's
forget
like
who he
a
plays. Who's he
crazy
play?
religious guy.
Yes, and he's good. He's good in it.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
like, I think he's one of the, but I feel like he might be a demon or something, but his disguise is
Yeah.
that he is
Doesn't he
like
play
one
like
of
a
those crazy,
bald, crazy, like not bald, but like blind, crazy religious guy on the
yeah.
streets who's like walking around being absurd? I remember I liked him a lot in this movie. For the most part, almost every time he acted in the '90s Tarantino, I'm usually for it.
Yeah, he's like he's blind and he has a cowboy hat and he's just one of those people in cities who and he has like the pastor like clerical collar on, just one of those crazy people in cities who yells about Jesus and the rapture. Yeah, that's who he is. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a demon in it. But yeah, that's a fun cameo. Oh, Rodney Dangerfield was also in it too.
Yep. Yeah, I forget who
Another
he
great
is, but
cameo.
I do see him on there. I mean, I
He's
forget who he was in this movie, not
he's
who he is.
Lucifer. That's his character name. But I
Ah,
can't remember. I just feel like he's one of Harvey Keitel's
I'm
like,
I work for Satan.
yeah. He's like his right hand man or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um yeah, that's Little Nicky. Um Definitely a very late 90s, early 2000s movie in general. Yeah. Next one on the list is Eight Crazy
We got
Nights.
two animated ones back to back here.
Back to back. We have Eight Crazy Nights and Hotel Transylvania, two very different movies.
Yep. And Hotel Transylvania is the other one along with Blended that I couldn't get to.
Mm, mm. Well,
And a
yeah, I guess
do-over.
Eight Crazy Nights I'll start with. I don't remember too much of because I saw it a long time ago.
Eight Crazy Nights, huh? You don't remember a lot of it?
Not too much. I
So
I watched it
this
maybe
one I
once or
actually
twice.
watched a lot growing up.
Really?
Yeah.
I can remember like moments from like the trailer because I felt like it was a trailer you just see constantly, and moments that I thought were funny and everything. And I thought that this movie was overall funny. But I just never really went back to it. It was never like something that I thought to go back to. And yeah, I don't have much to say
Yeah.
about it.
Like I remember enjoying it as a kid, but I don't like look back on it. I don't like look back on this movie fondly because it's very sad.
Mhm.
Like actually, yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I don't know, some about all the like the fact that it's also like got all this offensive humor in it too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it makes it even like sadder for me. So there's the movie actually has a lot of heart and is really trying to do a lot, I can tell, and really truly have a lot of meaning. And to a degree it does, but it's yeah, it's too sad, a little too depressing, and a little too whack Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say about it.
It also,
Don't
I think it
remember too
started
much.
Adam Sandler playing basketball in movies, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so then Hotel Transylvania is the next one, which
So
yeah,
we're on The Longest Yard.
yeah, The Longest Yard is where we left off. And some of these middle ones, I feel like we probably have more to say about the ones at the top of the list and the ones at the bottom of the list, but maybe not as much the middle. So I don't know. We'll see. But
Yeah.
yeah.
This is the biggest like Adam Sandler cool guy one, I feel like, because he's supposed to be a professional quarterback.
Yeah, no,
And
I
like,
agree. Yeah.
when has he ever like? I mean, in other movies, he's supposed to be an athlete as like a joke, like Billy Madison. I mean, not Billy Madison. Happy Gilmore. It's like a joke that he's an athlete. So suddenly, when he's like older, and I don't even remember if it looks like he got in shape for this movie or something, but
I
like,
don't think so.
I mean, when I was a kid, I bought it. I was like, oh yeah,
Oh,
Adam
yeah.
Sandler, NFL quarterback for sure. But now it's kind of ridiculous to me.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I never really thought about it until now. But yeah, he's supposed to be a
Yeah.
professional quarterback, but he's like 5'10" and a
Right.
little
He's not
chubby.
even tall. He's does not look like he works out.
No.
I mean,
Yeah,
at the most they
it's
probably do in
ridiculous.
this movie is like the shirts probably like hang over him, so, and then he's skinny, so like he doesn't look like he's out of shape necessarily, but
But yeah, like, so the original Longest Yard, Burt Reynolds is in this role, and Burt Reynolds, I could buy as like an old timey quarterback,
for sure.
Back in the original. But yeah, Adam Sandler, such a weird role for him when you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if this was like produced by him too. Because I'm thinking, if I'm putting myself in the mind of like a Hollywood executive, I feel like you could get like more like macho guy to play this role and do it like well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Because he's not playing it ironically, like he's playing it like he's an actual real dope football player.
Yeah.
Like,
And I
he's
have to
got
get
a
all
lot
these
of
idiots
great.
in prison to figure out how to play football as well as me.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's got like a lot of great like action, like there's a lot of great sports action in The Longest Yard.
Yeah, no, I actually really liked The Longest Yard growing up as a
Yeah.
young sports fan. Yeah. It had all these like athletes in it too, and like
I remember the warden is very unfair.
Yeah, the warden played by God, who is the warden? I feel like he's always a cop type guy. Oh, this is bothering me.
I'm looking for it too.
Yeah, James Cromwell. Yeah.
Okay.
I think even the Green Mile is like a warden type guy too. Yeah, he is. He's a warden in the Green Mile. I swear he might be a warden in something else. That is just like who he is. He is a warden actor. But
But Michael Irvin like plays in this too, and then
yeah.
also Terry Crews, and then Nelly.
And now he's like an insanely good running back.
Right. I guess I don't remember Tracy Morgan much, but he's in it.
Oh yeah, he's one of like the girlfriends they call them, which was just
code
for the gay guys. Yeah.
Now I remember Tracy Morgan in this.
Yeah.
And then Rob Schneider, I guess, is in this.
Yeah, he's the one he's just in the crowd and he just shouts things throughout the game. He's like, group hug in the showers tonight. Of course, he has an accent because he always does.
Yeah.
He's like, group hug in the showers tonight. And everybody looks at him weird. And he's like, or not.
And I remember that they're all like, when Chris Rock gets killed, they're like, they killed Caretaker. We're doing this for Caretaker.
Wow, I forgot that happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
no, I liked this movie growing up.
It's a
Yeah.
weirdly good movie. Yeah.
All right, the next one is Just Go With It, which
Right. Which
is
we've
the
talked about a
other.
good amount already.
Yeah.
Um,
And you know what? I actually
I
like
think,
Just Go With It too.
yeah, I still do. I remember
Yeah.
it was a Rick Rooney favorite, I think.
Mm. I can see that. Yeah, I remember I watched this. This is also one that I watched with my sister, and we would like quote some things to it after we like to each other from it after we saw it. And yeah, this is one where I feel like it's, yeah, obviously there's like the ridiculous part of like, why would Brooklyn Decker ever give Adam Sandler the time of day? But at the same time, I think this is actually like a nice comedy. It's not like super good, but there's also not a whole lot to hate about it.
Yeah. They outright
And
go to Hawaii and they swim with the dolphins.
Vacation to Hawaii. Yeah. Yeah, and actually, there's actually like a decent amount of parts that I laugh and think are like funny in this. Even Nick Swartzen, who a lot of times I don't think is very funny at all in these Adam Sandler movies. I find him
Doesn't
kind
he
of funny
like
in this.
does it what I forget what he does. He has that one scene in this where
I
I don't
forget like
know,
who
does
he
something
actually is,
painful.
but
He's yeah.
he's like, he pretends to be a certain character. Like he pretends to be this like German guy who breeds sheep.
Yes.
And yeah, I actually like, the first time seeing this, I thought he was like actually pretty funny in this. Um, and also, I think the daughter in this is really good too. She's been in a bunch of stuff
Yeah, I
since
don't
then.
remember that at all.
She, because in the movie she's like taking her character is taking acting classes and like improv
And he's like, "Oh,
classes, and
you can be good.
yeah,
You're
and
actually
she's like,
really talented."
yeah, she like actually goes all out into this like character as like this little girl who's super into her acting classes, and I think it's actually like pretty funny. And oh, and Nicole Kidman and Dave Matthews are like this other
Yeah,
couple
that's
there.
like that one like scene I forgot that I wanted to bring up still is that yeah, there's a Nicole Kidman scene where she plays like the college like sorority sister who did better or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's so much, more impressive and accomplished, and she's got it all.
Right.
Jennifer Aniston is more like the every woman,
Right.
um
In this
you
case.
know yeah, yeah. Okay, moving on to anger management.
Yeah, this is a movie I grew up with. I'd watch it in my uncle's basement, where I would also watch. Sounds so weird the way I just put it, but it's true. I
It
would watch it in
does,
my
yeah.
uncle's
Yeah.
basement, and
Only
I'd
there.
watch. Yeah, I watched Ace Ventura down there. I
Mm.
watched. I watched Jingle All the Way down there. I watched Dumb and Dumber down there.
Wow.
Yeah, and anger management came up a few times, and I definitely was too young to understand this movie totally, and also understand how crazy it is that Adam's acting along with Jack Nicholson. And I remember just me and my cousins and my brother would just laugh at this one scene a lot where, and my uncle would actually laugh at it a lot too, where Jack Nicholson would come sleep. They slept in the same bed with Adam Sandler, and Jack Nicholson would just be like, "I like to sleep in the nude," and he'd come in, and my uncle would always laugh a lot, so we would laugh a lot, and it was just a scene we will never forget.
Yeah, yeah. Anger management was yeah, one I liked growing up too. Um, I guess, yeah, I'd say it wasn't in my like regular Sandler rotation as a youth, but
It's been
yeah.
a long time for this one for me.
Yeah, this is another one where I haven't seen it in, I don't know, probably almost 10 years. But yeah, yeah. No, this one is like perfectly fine, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Anything to
I
add to
think
that?
there's something like, I don't know, about Adam Sandler too, it's really well directed towards like anger and like frustration. He's actually like really good at that. Like even in not only is it like funny when he lashes out, like it's really funny, but like in Jack and Jill, for instance, like whenever he goes like when he does when the man Jack goes like when it like comes out, it's actually like, that's like a very distinct Adam Sandler thing. Like even though I don't think he is an angry guy at all in real life. I think he's like,
Yeah.
just a very nice, likable guy and actually pretty chill. Like he's great when it comes to playing an angry character.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he is. That is part of his like comedic repertoire, is that the next
So
one.
Reign Over Me is the next one, and I watched that today, and I actually thought this was pretty good. Yeah, I really like this one. I had no idea how good it was gonna be, because like, especially like since I saw its placement on your list, I just feel like where it is, it's still among um like the range of like 15 to 20 is still very much, 15 to 24, which is what we've been doing recently. Like it's very much a mixed bag. So I didn't know what to
Mhm.
expect from Reign Over Me. Um, but I actually thought it was a pretty good movie about like trauma, and just like escapism and like mental illness and stuff like that. Like for the most part, it worked for me, and I actually felt myself pretty emotionally engaged, while I also laughed a good amount. There were like a few moments where like once again you're like Adam Sandler's kind of being offensive on on screen, like when Don Cheadle's when they go to see Mel Brooks movies. I don't know if you remember, they do like
Mhm.
a triple feature of Mel Brooks movies, and Adam has this big spiel where he says this is why you can say the F word. Like he's like, Don Cheadle says you can't say the F word, which is correct, and Adam's like, no, it's only offensive to gay people. You're not gay, so to you it's just a funny word or something like that. And you could tell it's like him trying to like preach in the movie, but now it's just like, yeah, no, that's just not how it is. It's just not
Yeah.
how it is. And then he goes and he orders the movie ticket, and he's like, I'll have one adult, one F word. It's just like, come on, Adam. And then like after the movie, because he's supposed to be like emotionally like withdrawn, like Don
Mhm.
Cheadle goes like, he gets a call from Jada Pinkett Smith, who's his wife, who says like, your dad just died. I've been trying to call you for 3 hours, and you've been at this Mel Brooks marathon with Adam Sandler. And then he's like, oh my God. And he tells him, he's like, my dad just died. And he's like, do you want to get some Chinese food? And he's like, no, my dad just died. And it's like, I gotta go. And then he's like, as he's leaving, he's like calling him a pussy and all this shit. So
Mhm.
there's certain, like, not everything works in this movie, but for me, I thought it was a pretty down to earth, like solid movie, and Adam Sandler gives a really good dramatic performance. Like he kind of plays like a child who's really like, because he's so he emotionally withdrawn, and has just like buried this trauma that's happened to him like underneath. So like it kind of works that he's just very I don't know, weird and kind of childlike, like kind of like a teenager who plays video games all the time and just looks for escapism all the time. And it just worked for me, and I connected with it a lot. And once again, it's just to his versatility. Like Sandler's now acting off of Cheadle. He's acted off of Pacino, Nicholson, all these different people. Like just to see him act with Cheadle was really good. I thought they had a good
Yeah.
good chemistry in it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So Grown Ups is next in the list. I don't think we really need to talk that much about it.
Agreed. Yeah.
But I do agree with the placement in the list. I think it's right where it should be because, like we talked about before, I just think it's it's the Grown Ups is a fun, solid one, and I think it also kind of stands for what Sandler stands for and Happy Madison Productions. And I mean, if it's not your thing, fine, but I also don't think this is like, other than the fact that, you know, it's very blatantly lazy, I don't think there's a lot you can go after this movie for.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Like it does have a lot of those typical, later Sandler, just laziness to it. And it's clearly just like a way for him and his buddies to hang out. But this one is much more likable than the second one, I think. And we talked about it a lot in other episodes.
Yeah.
Too. But I think there's definitely more to enjoy from this as just, a mindless comedy. I think that this fills that void pretty well of, like, I mean, obviously there's lots of bad comedies out there, but something that's enjoyable and it's not pushing any boundaries and it doesn't really need to. The next one, number 13, is The Wedding Singer, which is second Sandler Barrymore movie that we've talked about so far.
And I think everyone likes The Wedding Singer.
Yeah, this is another one.
I don't think you can find anyone who hates The Wedding Singer.
Early Sandler, perfectly fine. Nice rom-com. Him and Drew Barrymore, obviously.
I mean, really, like, is it the first one we've gotten to that's like almost? I don't know. You can say that. Yeah, you can say that. I feel like it's the first one that no one has quarrels with. Like, everyone likes The Wedding Singer to me.
Yeah, this is not in the same realm as some of the other Sandler comedies. So and this Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore are both likable and have great chemistry together. So
yeah, I remember when I was a kid, it blew my mind that this movie. I was like, oh my god, he's like, now he's gonna be with the girl. Before he was just performing for the weddings. Now he's with the girl, and then like they even like he even gets, you know, for me, I think that was the first time I saw someone go after the girl on a flight in a movie. So to me that was very new. So like,
this is crazy.
I mean, it's such an overdone concept now, but like when you're a kid and you've never seen it before, it is a mind-blowing thing that to see someone go after their soulmate on a plane. Like, that's why it's overdone.
Yeah. But that's what, part of this ties in just when you've seen it and what you saw before seeing these. So, and
Sandler is great singing. For me, he's almost at his best when he's singing. It's almost my favorite thing. Like that Adam Sandler, I don't know, I forget what it's called, like Under 100% Fresh or whatever, that Adam Sandler Netflix special, which I am such a huge fan of. Like he's mostly he's doing songs like from his 90s self, and he's killing it, for me at least.
The next one is one that I 100% admit that if I saw this for the first time now, I probably would have it much lower on the list. But I really liked Click a lot as a teenager. When I first saw it, I remember really loving this movie and watching it a ton.
I was mixed on Click as a teenager. I
really,
I don't remember why, but I need to see it again.
Yeah, and this was another one I think maybe my sister and I bonded over for a little bit too. But and it's, especially towards the end, there's moments with him and his son, and it's like I teared up as a kid
Yeah, I
in
do
these
remember
moments.
Click gets very real, which is not what you expect.
Yeah. And I think a lot of, a lot of the humor is probably fairly like phoned in and predictable, but um yeah, no, when I saw this at the time, I really was like like moved by it in a way. And thought it was funny. And just like this is the first time I ever was really thinking about like, oh yeah, what if you just fast forward through life and then
Right, right.
you miss all of these
It was
great
like
things about
it was like
life.
Inception. It was creating deep philosophical
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah, this was my inception in 2006.
All right,
uh
so the next one we've also talked about a fair amount, and
yes.
we even posted like a video with this using this
Oh yeah.
material. Um, yeah, Hubie Halloween at 11. I'm definitely a supporter of that because I love Hubie Halloween. I thought it was like I think it's one of the best comedies he's done in years. So yeah, I think it's right where it
Yeah.
should be. It's
This
right
is
before the
a
top 10.
Yeah, this is a great just like popcorn movie. Had super low expectations for it and watched it with my family when we were all just at home doing nothing last year. And yeah, I think we were all like surprised by how much we enjoyed it. So yeah, watched it again around this Halloween. And yeah, it's for sure my favorite of these Netflix Sandler movies.
He's kind of channeling like his old self and like more so in movies that are coming up next that we're going to talk about soon, like
Mhm.
classics that got his career, what made him famous.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I guess with that, we are in the top 10
Yep.
now. So
Yeah,
these are some big ones.
nothing but gold from here on out.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll start off. Number 10 is The Water Boy. Uh Bobby Boucher, which
Yeah.
man, this is one everybody knows. You still
Yep.
constantly hear it quoted. Um a lot of these in the top 10, these comedies in the top 10 are all ones that
Yeah.
are still
Incredibly
constantly quoted.
quotable. I played football in high school, believe it or not. And this water boy is quoted a lot when you play football.
I
Yeah.
can imagine. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just
He's
even
kind of
watching.
channeling a little Mad Max thing in this movie where he's like, no water,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
drink more water.
Just solid comedy that obviously still has stayed popular over the years. And um,
And he's
yeah.
just kind of good. He's just kind of good at playing like a mentally challenged dude. Like really, like it's just kind of funny,
Yeah.
And I don't think he's not trying to be offensive. And I'm not going to argue if like mentally challenged people are offended by these that I'm not going to argue that it's not offensive for them, but like I don't know, it's not offensive to me, and I find it funny, and I think it's um yeah, it's just that old school like that old school idea of like like playing the character that doesn't belong in
Mhm.
these certain situations. It's like at its root of movie comedies. So yeah, I still really like The Waterboy and Billy Madison, and I don't think they, unlike some of the Sandlers that we have talked about, I think those age pretty well. So
Yeah.
the
Did you
next
have
we
something
have
else?
50 First
Okay.
Dates,
Yes.
which is a movie that is on TV all the fucking time. And I think it is like I don't know, it's just like a real popular one, It's like people are like, oh yeah, and I love Drew in 50 First Dates. Like they just bring that up, and it's like I don't know, I think it's like a rom-com that really it not only came out in a big rom-com era because having dove into a lot of rom-coms in the past couple of years, I realized that the 2000s is loaded not necessarily with great rom-coms, just a lot of them, just a
Mhm.
shit ton of them. And this is one of the best ones, probably. If I had to rank like 2000s rom-coms, I really like 50 First Dates. I think it's you know, like you move past the fact that Adam Sandler is a cool guy in Hawaii to it actually like wins you over when he's like going through all that effort to like you know, make every day something for her, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really solid rom-com. And again, just like the Barrymore and Sandler dynamic. Yeah, they're
Mm-hmm.
clearly great together. So
Yeah, you have like multiple tier Barrymore Sandlers kind of. Well, actually, they're all in the except for Blended, they're in the top 15. So yeah.
yeah, there we go. Okay, the next one is Happy Gilmore.
Yep, which is a definitely a favorite of mine.
Number 8.
I remember I watched it like again like I don't know 4 or 5 years ago, and the opening credits like where it's that Tuesday's Gone by Leonard Skinner song playing, and like Adam Sandler is like showing what he does at every job. Like he's always like got the broom between his legs and he's going like this, and then I went here and he was doing it again. And I had like this movie just like from there on out, like it killed me. This is maybe I don't know, maybe I think I might laugh at this one more than any Sandler movie. Honestly, it might be between this and Hubie Halloween because I think Hubie Halloween's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, so like on
praise.
terms of just like laugh out loud humor, Happy Gilmore is one of my just favorite straight comedies that Adam Sandler's done.
Yeah, yeah, really love this one. And this is where Adam Sandler is playing that angry character, and it's very much an Adam Sandler character that it might not be as funny with someone else in this role. So this is one of his like I feel like when you think of like Adam Sandler and like the Mount Rushmore of his roles that like identify who he is, this is for sure one of them. And the next one,
it's also got a grandma in it.
yeah, also there's always grandmas. Sometimes they're horny, sometimes they're nice.
Even from the
sometimes
beginning to the end, Hubie Halloween, his mom is a grandma.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like it's his mom, but
theme.
she's really a grandma. Like
she's grandma age range. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves the grandma humor too.
Yeah.
Okay,
so Billy Madison, that's one I saw like when I was like 5, and I did not understand it at all.
Yeah, I'd say this is probably one that I saw pretty young and didn't really get it either. But I still would laugh because there's just easy
because he's just on he's just on screen in class doing what you're doing, and he's like rah, rah, rah. And you're just like, what is this?
Yeah,
this guy's off the walls. I don't know if you've ever watched like Adam Sandler has like a speech at the Spirit Awards.
Yes.
Yeah, you watch that.
Great speech.
Like really, it's really great. So great. And like one of the things he says is like, back when I was doing things, because that's how he talk, the tone he speaks in, like during the speech. He's like, back when I was doing things like Billy Madison, and he's like, and everyone cheers, which is pretty awesome because it's at the Independent Spirit Awards, and you know it's usually like more like indie art films, and he's like, back when I was doing Billy Madison. And he was just in Uncut Gems.
Yeah, that, I mean, after he was in Uncut Gems, I feel like that's really when everybody started to get like behind him again.
Yeah, it just like awoke everyone more for like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, it's Adam Sandler.
It's like, wait, we love this guy. Yeah. Sure, he's done some shitty.
Sure, he did 7
movies,
straight bad Netflix movies, but this makes up for it.
Yeah, but he's like our buddy.
Too, it really did though. Like one, I guess that's a formula. One Uncut Gems plus a Hubie Halloween equals like makes up for 7 bad Netflix films.
True. Yeah. At the end of the day, Adam Sandler's always going to be there for you,
Mm-hmm.
So we got to cherish him. Yeah. But yeah, Billy Madison. I mean, what else? What else can you say?
Yeah. Speaks for
Deservedly,
itself.
yeah, deservedly, it's a classic, and yeah, still one that I enjoy to this day. Now the next one, maybe a little controversial, but I am gonna stand my
Well,
ground.
I mean, I don't know about other people, but me personally, I'm
talking
not,
to you, Luke.
Yeah, me, yeah, I'm not behind Mr. Deeds at number 6. We defer on Mr. Deeds.
Yes, and I would say that probably Mr. Deeds would not beat out Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison for most people, and I totally get that. Because Mr. Deeds is this high up on my list. And like I mentioned very back in the beginning, like 10 years ago when we first started this episode, when I said that there's a lot of like sentimentality into it. And we were talking about Wes Anderson and how Wes Anderson, is kind of like a nice, warm, comfortable blanket for me. That's what I feel like Mr. Deeds is too.
Yeah.
For some reason, when I saw this in the theaters, this was one of the first I can remember one of the first PG-13 movies that I saw in the theaters, and I was like 8 or 9. And I just remember really, really loving this movie, laughing a lot. And then I swear I would rewatch it at least once or twice a year, up until maybe like high school or college. I would rewatch it a ton. And I've just always really enjoyed Mr. Deeds a lot. And think that Adam Sandler is he's a seemingly good guy in this. He's
like, they go to the town and he's like literally helping everyone like around the town, and then they go to the diner where everyone is. Yeah. And it is cool that he's suddenly in this world of like high-end East Coast, like old money and like capitalism, and he's just like a laid-back, cool guy who's like immune to all of it.
Yeah, well, he's almost like,
and John Turturro as his butler is hilarious. Pretty funny.
One of my favorite characters. Yeah, I see. This is even one in college. Like, a couple of my roommates and I would quote this too. Like, I would like to change your socks, sir. Like,
right.
Different things that John
I forgot
Turturro
about a
would
scene
say.
in The Ridiculous Six that I want to bring up.
Oh, God.
I've forgotten multiple things. So there's that scene where John Turturro teaches everyone how to play baseball. And it was actually the one scene I think that works. Like, it kind of is this running bid where it feels like Turturro is like inventing the rules of baseball as it's going for his benefit. And so like at first, like Adams, he's kind of just judging all of Adams like pitches at first, and he's like, that is a ball. And then everyone's like, what do you mean a ball? And like he explains them what a ball is gonna be, and then he's like, now 4 of them means I get on base. And then he just like while they're doing, he steals a base. He's like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, you could steal a base if you want. It's pretty ridiculous.
I have no memory of that.
Actually, I don't know if it's on YouTube, but if you can find on YouTube, it's worth watching. It actually was pretty funny.
Okay, I'll have to look that up again. Yeah, I do not remember that at all. But I always like John Turturro. Except for in the Jesus Rolls, which is the movie he made. I don't like that.
I still need to see that.
But yeah,
maybe
Mr.
need
Deeds,
isn't the right word, but
you could see it. Yeah.
It is funny that Turturro and Buscemi both like have clung to the Sandler franchise.
It's like they're in every Coen Brothers movie and every Sandler movie, and they're completely different, like completely different vibes in each one. But Yeah, I don't know. I always liked that. I always liked the underdog aspect of this. Like, and I was thinking, like, wow, I wish I could be like this character, like Longfellow Deeds. Everybody loves him, and he's so great to everybody. And
Longfellow Deeds.
and then Winona Ryder comes in, and
Yeah, yeah.
he's manipulating him. But then she turns and like
She's
is
like,
good.
"Oh
Yeah,
my God, I feel so bad that I've been
yeah,
manipulating you, and you're so genuine." That's how it like
yeah,
turns
yeah.
out. Yeah,
And yeah, I always just felt like this was like a heartwarming movie. And maybe I'm looking at it with you know, with rose colored glasses, but yeah, I've always just felt good watching Mr. Deeds, and I've um always really enjoyed it, and I still will watch, if it's on TV, I'll watch part of it. Uh and yeah, that's why it's this high up.
yeah.
Also JB Smoove is in it. He's the elevator
Oh
operator.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
That just adds points to it right there.
yeah. And again, Steve Buscemi too. He's Crazy Eyes, who I thought was
Yes, yeah,
hilarious as a kid.
right.
Um,
Yeah,
uh,
I would definitely watch Mr. Deeds again. I just remember like when I saw it, it was like three on your Sandler list at the time, like number three, and I had like loads of expectations,
oh, I bet. Yeah, yeah,
and it ended up being like Adam Sandler really laid back, like walking around the town, going like, "I'm just walking around the town helping out," and I'm like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I can if you go into it with high expectations, it probably will disappoint. But yeah. And again, like a lot of these are sentimental, sentimentally ranked. And if I saw them for the first time, it would be a way different story. But yeah, that's my number six. And now we're in the top five. And for number five is Big Daddy, which is another sentimental one. It's always Big Daddy and Mr. Deeds are honestly maybe the Adam Sandler movies that I have watched the most over the years. And this is another one I feel like in terms of like his comedies that the the highest regarded ones would probably be Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. So maybe that's where I differ, as I put Big Daddy and Mr. Deeds just ahead of those. But um, yeah, I've always liked Big Daddy, and again, this is one is where maybe it's because I feel more of like he's less of like the it's less appealing to like the bro culture that I just don't really subscribe to too much. And yeah, I like the supporting cast in it too. Leslie Mann and Jon Stewart.
Steve
Um,
Buscemi is a homeless guy in it.
Steve Buscemi, of course, I will never say no to seeing Steve Buscemi show up in a movie. Yeah,
He's
Big
like,
Daddy,
"Kid,
and
one time I had a job and a home and a family. I
yeah,
messed it all up." He says it
yeah.
all like so laid back and
Oh yeah, that's so
Steve
good. Yeah.
Buscemi like to the point. Yeah.
And
Uh,
that's like right when they're getting like McDonald's or something too. Yeah. And
yeah.
he's like, "Oh, I would love Vern McMuffin right now," or something. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Paul Thomas Anderson also really likes Big Daddy. Um,
Really? Wow.
yeah, like when he wanted to cast Sandler in Punch Drunk Love, he wanted to cast him so bad because he was such a big fan of Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, and Big. I think he's mentioned multiple times, especially Big Daddy.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
I've always thought that me and Paul Thomas Anderson are really similar too.
that's what I'm
So
saying. That's why I
yeah.
brought it up.
Yeah, that's cool. I just like this one, and I think again, I don't think Sandler was always so like cruel towards like always so like homophobic or cruel towards like I don't know the outcasts type of things.
Yeah.
Especially because I feel like he's mainly an underdog in a lot of these like early comedies. So
Yep.
I feel like it's really only once it got to like the 2000s, and maybe that was like the humor at the time, that because all of these in the top 10, like I feel like he's clearly someone to like root for and you want to root for him, and there's not a whole lot of punching down towards like different groups. Um, and Rob Schneider is in this too, and he's doing an accent, and he's problematic. And you're gonna have that in these Adam Sandler movies, but
I
beyond
forget
that,
what he
yeah,
does in this. What does he play in
he's
this?
the delivery guy.
Is
But
he
he's I
Mexican? Or...
yeah, I feel like he's maybe his Hispanic. I can't tell what type of ethnicity he's trying to play, but he's like hip hop. He's like trying to get like an English lesson or like spelling or like not spelling, but like an English lesson from Adam Sandler, and he's like hip hop, hip hop anonymous. Like yeah, he's just
Well, one sketch from SNL that really works with his accent is the like, and it's also got Farley and Sandler in the sketch, and I think at least the one I've seen, Jason Alexander, where like they're at the Euro place or whatever, and
oh
like
yeah, I've seen
and
that
Jason
one. Yeah.
Alexander like goes back to ask more for more like drippings and juice, and he's like,
Mhm.
Rob Schneider's like, you like the juice, it's good, and then that ends up being like everything he asks. He's like, you like the ketchup,
Yeah, that's not
and
so bad. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean that, yeah, but then he, there's the
Different for
rest of
other
his
things.
movie
Yeah,
career to be debated.
yeah, yeah. But I guess SNL they do that. They have a similar thing with like Belushi and
Right.
Bill Murray back in the day too, with the Billy Goat Tavern type sketch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Big Daddy, my number five. And now we're getting to the not so funny, but also funny movies. But these are like the hard
We're getting to
hitters.
like the actual like films.
Yeah, these are films now.
The top four
Um,
are films, and Spanglish is trying to be a film. So you
yeah,
could count that.
it wishes it was up here. Yeah, with these, but
Yes. It was trying to be up here. But yeah, these are the top four yeah, films.
yeah, number four is what I just watched last night, the Meyerowitz stories, new and selected.
Yeah. Yeah, which is
Uh,
a favorite um just of mine in general. I love this movie. I like sometimes I watch it. Like I usually like am really into Francis Ha with Noah Baumbach stuff, but like
mhm.
sometimes I watch Merowitz stories and I'm just like, maybe I like this one more, even though Francis Ha is like so amazing, but Merowitz stories always like the cast and the family dynamic here always like kind of wins me over a lot. I always just it's kind of one I want to
Yeah,
watch yearly usually.
yeah. I think this one's really funny too. I think Dustin
Yeah.
Hoffman, Ben Stiller, and Adam Sandler are all really funny in it, and Emma Thompson too. And
Yeah, Emma
even just
Thompson's always like drinking, and Dustin Hoffman's like,
yeah,
I tell her she drinks too much, but she
and
to give your
yeah,
nephew more shark.
and you know who else shows up who is great in his limited screen time is Adam Driver.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, he gives him Ben Stiller the pills to calm him or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's another one. He always brings it, even if he's just doing like a small little cameo.
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, yeah, and this is one too where like like we are talking about with Wes Anderson, I say sort of feel with Noah Baumbach, at least I feel it's more with his more recent ones, not so much some of like the earlier ones, at least for me. They're also kind of comforting. They're
They are. Yeah,
comforting to see like this like family drama that is
yeah,
easily relatable to most people, and seeing
yeah.
it sort of in this
It's
way
like
where it's
and it's like serious, but it's like also comical,
yeah, exactly.
family drama because they are so like well off, and
Hmm.
it's like their father was like he was clearly like a successful artist because look at their apartment in New York, that sort of thing. But it's like the whole problem is like you know, his like ego of not being, you know, feeling like he was, you know, had as much recognition as he should have. He's not as like famous as he he's not as famous as like his ego kind of takes him. You know, like when he introduces himself like at the like to Sigourney Weaver, and he's like, I said, she said my name's Sigourney. I said my name is Harold. You know, like
He says
you
it
know, you
like three
feel
times. Yeah.
right. He feels like he should have like, you know, been known by Sigourney Weaver, that sort of thing. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just kind of like it's just interesting how that like father like that kind of a toxic father and how it like rubs off on all the kids and that sort of thing. And yeah, like you said with the Wes Anderson thing, I find this just this one Merowith story is just very, very comforting for me,
Mm-hmm.
just because of all the. It's just a family hanging out for a lot of it, kind of having somewhat like toxic but still funny conversations
Mm-hmm.
um and yeah, I like Ben Stiller and Adam Sandler specifically. I just love so much in this movie as they play brothers. And like I think they go to places that we haven't necessarily seen for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Adam in this one he kind of plays like a dude who just feels like he's like old and he has a kid and he's like he just feels very bad about himself all the time, and
Yeah.
he clearly doesn't have anything really going on, and that's like why he puts so much into his dad, and like Ben Stiller's like successful, like so they kind of like look down on him for it, but he, you know, Ben Stiller is also like he's like a really good dude in this too a lot, you know, he's like
Mm-hmm.
he's not like rubbing his success in necessarily. He's just yeah,
He's really trying. Yeah, he's trying to be like a good son and like a good.
yeah. He is. Yeah, and
Yeah.
in the end, he like helps Adam go to like he's like, yeah, come out to L.A. Like, let me give you. You know, you're not doing anything. Like your daughter's in college, and yeah,
Yeah, really, really like this movie. Glad I finally saw it. I wish it didn't take us doing a Sandler episode for me to finally get to it, but here we are.
it's also one that
Yeah.
showcases the Sandler music side because it has those
Yeah.
great moments where he's like singing with his daughter, then he's singing with Dustin Hoffman, and those are like those are moments that are so good that I YouTube them sometimes.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's great too. And just like Marriage Story, great music from Randy Newman in
Yeah,
it too.
yeah. He scores the whole thing.
I think so. At the end credits, it's him, and then it says like
Oh,
music
okay.
by Randy Newman. So
Right.
I assume that it's all him. But yeah. Right. Number 3 is Funny People. Which this is one I saw when I was younger, didn't quite get it, thought it was kind of weird, and seeing it as an adult, really, really loved it. And yeah, and this is one now I've rewatched a few times or a couple times in the past just few years, and um still really like this one, and it really is it's one of my favorite Judd Apatow movies probably. And
Yeah, me
uh
too.
Seth Rogen, Judd Apatow, and Adam Sandler, like it's got to be funny somehow. And the way they like
Yeah.
they balance like the whole comedy world like aspect to it, along with you know, preparing for death and for,
Right.
you know, being forgotten, or um yeah, just realizing I don't know, mistakes in life too.
Yep.
It's a very real movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like after it's perfect to talk about now, especially after we've talked about almost all of Adam Sandler's movies, because it kind of it plays off of just the fact like he's casted in this role because he is like I don't like obviously like he's not sad or dying of cancer or alone. Adam Sandler's life, I don't think was never like that at all. But like he's the successful, ultra successful comic who ended up doing like just being in way too many movies and getting so big that you can see this being a realistic thing, like in Adam Sandler's life. You know what I mean? Like, and it's
Yeah.
not, I don't think it's not autobiographical for Sandler in that regard, really. I don't think like that he was alone at the time. I think he was just acting really well, and he's just acting great in this movie. He's just very good in it. And of course, like he is kind of like playing himself. You know, he's not
Yeah.
like yeah.
I mean, in his house, there's like all the movie posters and stuff from
Yeah,
past
yeah.
movies he's
He's
done. Yeah.
just, like it's just that he's alone, and that is really tragic as he's like dying of cancer, and then uh like Seth ends up being his best friend, just this dude he just met, and yeah, like it's just yeah, it's a lot about like life choices and like uh I don't know, just trying to like change after having been doing the same thing for a long time. Yeah, it goes really deep, and it also has like I don't know, just moments that make me laugh, like, and I'll repeat over and over again, like
Mhm.
Eric Bana and among other things.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is almost like a movie about Adam Sandler if he didn't like get a wife and kids and like settle down, and he was
Yeah,
a
and
little
if he
bit more of
didn't
like
have
a
so many friends, if he just wasn't like if he was a distant guy, that sort of
yeah.
thing, if he wasn't so genuine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it's like his character almost craves the life that the real Adam Sandler has. Like he wishes he would have done things differently so that he could have the real Adam Sandler's career and life. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and like you said too, I mean, I think it's really really funny too. Especially, I
yeah,
love the dynamic between Seth Rogen, Jason Schwartzman,
yeah,
Jonah
yeah.
Hill.
Oh
Like
yeah, oh yeah.
those three
Like they're
guys.
also attention seeking, like at the end when he's like in bed and they're like he just had like a shit he got fired from George, and they're like, hey, I think today we could get him on Yo Teach, that show, and he's like,
Yeah.
do you really think we should? And he's like, I think if it comes up we should, but we shouldn't like force it or anything, you know.
Yeah, yeah. The three of those guys together, every single scene. I mean, I thought it was
Yeah,
super funny.
yeah.
Um, yeah, Jason Schwartzman like kills me in this, but yeah, yeah, funny people. I could watch this one a lot of times. And we
Yeah,
talked
this
about
is
this.
one I also watch yearly pretty much.
We talked about it for our scores and soundtracks episode, I believe.
Yeah,
I
I
think
brought it
you
up, yeah,
had it.
because the music is randomly really good, you know.
Yeah.
Because you got music from Jason Schwartzman in it, and there's
Hmm.
all these like deep like songs by like the Beatles and among other folks, because
Yeah.
because yeah, like he's dealing with a lot big existential crisis in this film, so yeah, it requires
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like James Taylor music, and he's also James Taylor's in
Right,
it.
right, right. I
Wilco, I
can't
think, is
follow
played.
fire and rain.
Yeah, I can follow fire and rain. Yeah. Yeah, and then there's even like the Adam Sandler um sort of original music in it too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I watched the commentary like a while back, a
Oh,
little like a month or two ago, and they were saying how like, you know, like a lot of the stand-ups were actually, you know, like very like simulated, like they were actually like performing stand-up in front of a audience that they got for it. So like you know, like, and everything's fresh, so all the stand-up's
mhm.
very, you know, authentic. And actually during the James Taylor scene, it actually kind of went like that in real life. Like James Taylor performed first, then Adam and Seth have to go out and do stand-up after that, so it was kind of like, you know, yeah, it was like just like in the movie. uh
I do remember hearing about how they would actually perform for the
Yeah.
audience, and it wouldn't
And a
be.
lot of the bids are apparently like some of Judd's like old jokes from like when he was doing stand up.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, like yeah, it's for like they're doing that event for MySpace.
Right, right.
It's
It's like
like the joke,
fuck,
like you took
fuck
the MySpace.
Facebook.
Yeah, fuck, you stole like the fuck Facebook joke from me. Yeah.
He's like, he stole the Facebook joke.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love all the little just random cameos from other like stand-ups in there too. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny people. Great movie. Underrated, I would say.
Yeah, it is. It is. Not everyone's into it, but the ones who are know what's up.
hmm okay. Well, number 2 is Uncut Gems,
Right? We
which
have talked about this a lot on the podcast as well.
we sure have. Yeah. Yeah, this one is much more fresh and relevant and super popular. And
Yeah,
rightfully
and I
so.
would
Yeah.
argue that there's a chance that we wouldn't even be doing this episode if Uncut Gems wasn't a thing.
For
Um,
real. Yeah.
just I definitely wouldn't be as inspired to do it because I remember Uncut Gems just I don't know like it was a perfect storm of like Adam Sandler's stand-up special coming out and then him doing Uncut Gems like it just got me like really revived my love for Adam Sandler as an adult. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this was almost like his comeback in a way. Like I just feel when this came out, like when his Netflix special came out too, like everybody was talking about Adam Sandler now, and then everybody really wanted him to win an Oscar for this role too. And then
Yep.
I just remember like just being on Twitter when his speech at the Independent Spirit Awards came out, and
Right,
that
right.
was just like talked about so much. Um, so yeah, I feel like this has a lot of like relevancy to today with like
Yeah.
bringing Sandler back into like no, remember we love this guy even though he's done
Right.
7 shitty Netflix movies. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it was great that like Parasite like won, it took the
Mm.
Oscars and all that stuff. But like everyone like I feel like everyone also kind of knows that like this year was about like and was a great year for movies as you remember. But I also think like Uncut Gems like sort of won that year, like
Mhm.
even if it didn't like win Oscars or anything like that, like everyone knew that Uncut Gems was one of the like no movie was like it, no movie was as good.
Mhm.
It was like it was pushing the boundaries of cinema to another level, um, and yeah, and like and that we've never seen Adam Sandler do anything like this ever,
Yeah,
like anything
yeah.
close.
And he was so good. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think even at maybe I don't know if it was at the Oscars or Golden Globes or something, someone gave like Adam Sandler a shout out in their speech.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too. Like
Yeah.
everyone was like advocating for him.
Right.
Um
Yeah.
so yeah, this is a fun time. A fun time just like around I don't know, movie like buzz and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, was he even nominated for an Oscar? I thought he was even like snubbed from the nominations.
Yeah, I don't
I
even
can't
think he got
remember.
nominated because I remember he wasn't at the Oscars. He didn't go
Yeah,
because of that or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, which
Which I
is
can
yeah, a
understand if
shame.
he doesn't win an Oscar, but yeah, he should be nominated for
Right,
that
yeah.
role for sure.
I can't remember who
Like,
won that year, but yeah, at least a
yeah,
nomination
I don't
makes
remember. I think
sense.
Joaquin won for Joker.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Joker. Yeah, um,
which is too bad. Yeah.
the Joker also might have been a Best Picture nominee, but
But yeah, but I don't know. I guess
anyway,
other people also like there's people who love Joker.
yeah,
Yeah, I just for
yeah.
I forget because I'm in so my own world. But I had like a friend who I was watching a movie with him, and he asked me, is Joker the best Joaquin Phoenix performance? And I looked at him, and I was just like stone cold, no. I was just like, no.
I think Joaquin is good in Joker, but yeah, I don't know. I do forget that too. I mean, I've heard people sense just on like, I don't know, other shows or like podcasts, people talking
Yeah.
about Joker, and I forget that it is like, I feel like it is very polarizing. There are people that really love it, and then
Yeah.
people who don't like it very much at all. Um,
And
yeah,
he's like objectively good in Joker, you know,
yeah,
like his
mm,
performance. Uh yeah, just personal preference. I just have a lot of Joaquin Phoenixes that I like more than that one performance wise, and it also just adds it adds to them not as in really into the movie to just yeah, why I definitely don't put it up there is like when I look back on Joaquin Phoenix's career, I'm not going to be looking back at when he played Todd Phillips's Joker.
yeah, yeah. Agreed. Um, but yeah, that is Uncut Gems, the number 2 on the list, and we
Yeah,
finally got to number 1, which is Punch Drunk Love, which we have talked about Paul Thomas Anderson already in this too. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, this again is a nice warm blanket of a movie. Um, and yeah, I just really love this movie, and I was for sure late to Punch Drunk Love. I think I watched it for the first time, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago or so, and I forget that this came out in like 2002, so he was still like in the height of doing all his just regular studio comedies. Um, and yeah, I just think this is maybe my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie too. Either this or Boogie Nights, and um, again, this is where he's the underdog, and it's not like his typical comedies, but it's so easy to root for and get behind him, and just a really like
yeah.
sweet story too. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is one that I could really watch over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really built for like the lonely guy.
Hmm.
It's like incredible in that regard, and yeah, definitely out of all like I out of all the PTA movies, I've seen this one like the least, but it's the one like I want to watch over like I want to watch like at this point like I want to watch it again more than the other ones, not only because it's like shorter and nicer and not as like dark as some of the other ones, but just because yeah, like it's easy, yeah, it's like easier, it's like a rom-com with like PTA's touch. Yeah, it's just very nice and yeah, and like I said, the whole thing with like the lonely dude is just it hits home.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I also think it's just a great performance by Adam Sandler too. Just in general, like this is uh I don't know. He really does have like a crazy amount of range that he can play like this sort of like um lonely sort of pathetic kind of guy, and then at the same
Mm-hmm.
time he's like the cool guy that everybody likes.
Yep, and
And
then he's
then
Howard Ratner. He's a like
yeah,
hustler, like like really embodying that like rat race thing. And then I watched it, and then in Rain Over Me, he gives this incredible like monologue where he talks about how his whole family got killed in like the 9/11 like uh attacks. So
yeah,
yeah, it's quite there is yeah, he can do what he wants. You know, it's just sometimes uh he chooses to do the ridiculous six or grown ups two or
yeah.
don't mess with the Zohan, he like he's his own man. He does the Sandman does what he pleases.
Yes, yeah. And maybe his more acclaimed movies are ones that he didn't have any part of like writing them, but yeah, he's still
Yeah, but very talented. Like some of the best filmmakers of our generation have seen him and been like, seen him in fucking like Chuck and Larry even or something like that. Like I meant like what I could do with that.
Yeah. It's actually great that like people like Paul Thomas Anderson, or the Safdies even like see that in him, that he
Yeah.
gets these roles, like because these are clearly like some of the best things he's ever done is
Yeah.
be in these movies, and I feel like the vast majority of people, like he's undeniably like a good, really good actor, and yeah,
Yeah. He's a built performer.
yeah, he is. He just is. And yeah, that is the Sandman list.
That is it. Whew.
That's it. That was the monumental episode.
That's a
Right
hefty
here.
episode for you.
Yeah.
Much like hopefully your Thanksgiving dinners.
Yes.
And yeah, like fuck. I mean, that's the guy who we're thankful for this year more than anybody.
Yeah.
I
We need
think,
him. We need him right
yeah, we
now.
need him very much, and there's not all the movies, but it's most of them, and yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've said all I could about Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
More to come for Christmas. In fact, maybe something a little familiar, just
Yes.
like Adam Sandler.
Yeah, just like Adam Sandler. Yeah.